Right, so going to do a quick check-in on work on how progressing on Korr. So yeah, and man, I really want to change that name, but I'm going to have to think about that a lot. But yeah, I do want to definitely change the name. So yeah, page one basically finished, and that yeah, I'm blah blah blah. It's more of a close-up, but again, solid black first panel, drawing back to the eye of this Cro-Magnon's prehistoric rhinoceros, two of them, and then a scene of the entire herd, birds overhead. I'll add in, yeah, I really hope you can see that well enough. I'll add in some, yeah, a bit more here on the landscape, but keeping it pretty minimal. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of afraid if I do too much in the pencils, I'll feel overwhelmed. Or I don't know. I'm trying to make myself, as I said before, just give instructions. Just give instructions in this case to myself for the coloring. Yeah. So this is page two. So first panel again is going to be solid, but it's going to be the color, the woad. It's going to be the camera's going to sort of be this solid kind of, I think, kind of a dark greenish blue. Again, hoping you're able to see that. Camera will draw back, and it's a curve. Again, dark, solid, greenish blue. Pull back further, and it's the woad on Korr's back. And draw back further still, and it's Korr and the gang, at least four Cro-Magnons running forward, charging, well, toward the rhinoceri, who you're going to see here, of course. Um, yeah, I wanted to make a video talking while I was drawing this page. Um, so I'm going to work on it some here. But yeah, it's tough. it's it's hard to yeah, man, hard to yeah, sorry. I can talk when I draw pretty well, but especially like, man, when you're trying to do figures, I find that I have to do a lot of moving around. There's a lot of checking references, there's a lot, and you know, embarrassingly, there's kind of a lot of posing to try and get the movement. Like, what's the movement going to be like? You know, how are the characters going to look running? And so, right, obviously, I did a lot of that here. So mainly tonight, I was going to just try and, while talking to you guys, I was going to try and drop down here and do some quick work on the man himself. This will be Korr himself, preparing to launch a spear at the rhinoceri, of course. And so, yeah, and I'm pretty pleased. I could be a lot happier with this arm for various reasons. So, but I'll leave that rather sketchy. I might make some adjustments when I take this into digital. But yeah, the page is basically set out, as you can see. And so Korr, of course, is going to have the woad marks on his eye as well. On his face, running from his forehead to his cheeks. And I can tell, yeah, I can tell right now I'm going to need to set up a Bible, as it were, sort of a, yeah, reference for Korr, for where all the, you know, for where the woad is, where the designs are. So again, this will be the blue-green woad design on his back, and I'll have to consult. I'm going to have to look later to see exactly how the patterns are worked out, but that's all good. So yeah, yeah. So that's where we're at, and uh, you know, the pencils are so much fun. I'm almost a little. I feel some trepidation about going into color. Yeah, because it's a whole nother thing. But you know, it's a good challenge. Um, yeah, I've probably droned on enough about that. Let's see, what's some more interesting stuff? I finished Trust by Hernan Diaz, which I was reading. Pulitzer Prize winning book. It was okay. I'm a little annoyed that I actually read something that won a Pulitzer Prize. I think Borges, famous Argentinian writer and very good writer, excellent writer, Borges. I think he once said Argentinians are, he used a better word, it wasn't suspicious, but Argentinians, Argentines, Argentines, I think it's Argentinians, and I think Argentine is just the adjective. Um, he said Argentinians they'd be willing to accept that a book or a film might be all right, despite the fact that it's won an award. Like they wouldn't think that a film or a book that's won an award is just good. Right? They'd be, yeah, again, not suspicious, but they would be willing to accept maybe that it's a good book or a good film, even though it's won something. So looked upon that, looking askance at that, and I kind of feel that way about the Pulitzer Prize more and more, and embarrassingly, I probably feel that way too about the Nobel Prize in Literature, which is kind of sad. But I for a long time, not a long time, well, yeah, for a while, I was making a very conscious and consistent effort to read the Nobel Prize winning, the books that won a Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize winning books. Like when just to pull a name out of the hat, when Saramago won, I read two of Saramago's books. Or I was really happy when Haney won. I thought that was really well deserved. Irish poet, and so that was very nice. But a lot of, like Saramago, for example, a lot of the books are pretty disappointing. And Trust it's okay. I think I'm gonna do a whole separate review of that. It was nice to finish Trust though, because I thought I would read something light. Or I thought, well, Trust is pretty light actually, but I thought I would read something pretty outrageous and pretty fun. And so I started reading Consider Phlebas again by Ian M. Banks, which science fiction novel. It's the first in the culture novels, and if you're into the culture, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know. Anyway, it's excellent. As I say, it's science fiction. It's very rollicking. I think what's kind of cool about the culture books is Ian Banks, and he's a serious author, wrote lit fic, wrote, I guess what you call real books, not genre books, and he's a pretty good writer, and it's very much like you very much get the feel like you're reading something, and you can tell well, first of all, he writes well, and you can tell he's having a lot of fun with it. The author is really enjoying himself. But it's in the best way. I mean, he's not just indulging whims. It's not just his peculiarities. It's not just his own. He's not just indulging himself. Not just putting in things that he wants to put in because he wants to put them in. It's a well put together book. But as I say, you can see that he's having just a great deal of fun with it, and that comes across. I mean, it really comes across to you as the reader. It's a very fun book. Generally speaking, I find the Ian and Banks culture novels that way. So yeah, Consider Phlebas, highly recommended. It's an excellent book, very good. So yeah, so that's kind of the media I've been consuming, and I had to do some demo work on the home, because changing things, putting new stuff in, you gotta tear the old stuff out. It's an old story. It's old as time itself. But yeah, so I had to do some demo work and some stuff like that. And man, like what the pain about demo work is after it's done, you got a garage full of the garbage. You got a garage full of the debris. I guess unless you want to have a dumpster just outside, ready to go at all times. So yeah, so the demo is really only, now I got to demo the demo, which means I got to get out in the garage and I got to chop up and hack to pieces and destroy everything out there so that I can toss it into the garbage. But don't tell the city because, well, you're not supposed to put building material in, and I doubt that this is. Technically, probably is building material. Man, that's boring. All right, talk about. There's got to be something else to talk about. I'm sure there's lots of other things to talk about. I can't really talk too much about comic books. Don't really know what's going on with comic books. I don't really read comic books anymore, just because I've kind of lost touch with them. Hellboy, yeah, occasionally I will read Hellboy, especially if it's a friend of mine. Someone I know tells me I should pick it up or something. Although honestly, if it's not, I really, it's bad. But if it's not Mignola on art, yeah, I'm not. Duncan Fegredo. All right, I apologize. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Hellboy artist, man, I think that guy's awesome. I think that guy's really incredible. He's very cool. Oh, speaking of which, this is embarrassing. I read more comics than I realized. The new Sean Phillips, Edward Brubaker thing is out, and like a lot of people, man, I can't remember what that one's called. I should check that. Yeah, I love the Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips stuff. And the Reckless, so Criminal, like kind of the original series I remember. Then there was Reckless, character's name, Reckless detective. Man, I love those books. I love the Fatale. Yeah, trying to remember some of the other names, but I remember the stories very well. And yeah, the new one's pretty good. I think they've lost. I feel like maybe they've lost a little bit of steam, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot I'm willing to forgive. It's a blast of a series. Sean Phillips art, man, yeah, love it. Love the Brubaker stories. I really can't complain over much about them. In fact, I don't really feel the need to complain or be particularly critical. They're a lot of fun, and I noticed that crime books. If I read comics, it seems to end up being crime books unfairly. If I'm going to read comic books, I seem to end up reading crime books. A lot of Brian Azzarello. I read 100 Bullets, of course, and so forth. And he's pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty neat. So I'm going to have to go in here and do the Rhinoceri. So anyway, I hope you can see this bottom panel pretty well, since that's the main one I'm working on this evening. And yeah, so this is the pencils are on this page pretty close to done, pretty close to finished. Like I said, again, instructions for coloring. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And I suppose this is also, I did see, or I heard that artists were really having to document, they're having to prove that they didn't use AI to make something, which is kind of surprising to me. And a lot of the AI stuff really looks AI. It doesn't really look that. I'm sure that'll change. I'm sure that'll be altered. But yeah, I feel pretty bad for artists having to do that, or being everyone. There being the suspicion and people saying you didn't. It was just an AI did that, not you. Yeah, and that's gotta be a real drag. I can promise you this is not going to be AI. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for myself, really. And so, if you're along for the ride, that's awesome. But yeah, it's not going to be AI because, yeah, I'm doing this to do it, to make something. That's the priority. But I guess that's probably pretty obvious. How straight do you think that spear, how straight do you think the spear would be? How good is the caveman technology? How good is the Cro-Magnon technology? How straight can they make the spears? I think they would spend a lot of time working on them. It would be a pretty important sort of thing. So is the spear going to be stone tipped? Is it going to be, probably be stone tipped. In part because I think that's going to look really cool. And because I suspect they were stone tipped. So yeah, I like the diagonal. I think is a nice element. I feel a little bit bad breaking the pattern from the first page. When the first page, of course, the camera just draws back and back and back, and here the camera draws back. But here we're shifting. We don't have the running figures in the final panel. We have Korr, the man himself, ready to hurl his spear. So yeah. All right. So quick progress report. Just want to knock that out. Yeah. All right. Great deal to do. Okay. Thanks for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, advice, criticism, I don't know, whatever, you can leave it in the comments. I promise that I will read it. I know the expression "no good" comes of reading the comments, but I'm going to break with that and actually read comments if people leave them. If not, yeah, it was cool too. Hope you enjoyed the video. All right, I'll check in again soon. Some more progress. So yeah, thanks for checking it out, and take care.